Hello and welcome to this session of basic Python programming for our data science. In this session we will try to just cover the basics of Python programming language, and which can be used in future for further for data science purposes and predictive modeling and or any machine learning library that you want to use or any machine learning project you want to do. We need to learn a simple basics of these languages, and the contents of this course would be initially we will start from Python history and introduction to Python, and then we will move further to the environment that we can use for Python language for our data science purposes. Next we will try to move to basic command in Python, then the data types, and then we will try to move to our basic conditional operators that we can use, then a few loops and function and Python packages. So these would be our content for this course. Introduction to Python. So Python is a general purpose programming language. Mostly it's been used as a scripting language, but the good thing about Python is it's a human readable language, meaning that if you see a syntax of Python or any Python code that you see, if you have intuition for any programming language, or if you have basic understanding of any programming language, you can just read the syntax just like English language and you can understand what it's trying to convey or how this program is going to work. So very readable syntax it has, and it's quite well documented. If you visit the python.org language and if you try to visit the documentations, you will find very easy to understand the language, and you can just learn more about the language. It's open source language, meaning it's free. The good thing, one more thing about Python is it's very general purpose, meaning that for many kind of programming paradigms or any framework or for any other kind of a project, it's being used for, like for web development. If you want to use Python, you can use it. You have to just go with the Django framework, and you can build very interactive websites with just using the Python language. So similarly there are many other frameworks you can use for different kind of purposes. Right now data scientists and analytical people are getting into Python because it's a very simple language, and it has very powerful libraries available for data scientists and machine learning. We will try to get used to them or see them in further sessions. History of this language: it was developed or designed by Guido van Rossum. He's a Dutch programmer. He initially started working on this language in 1989. First version of Python was released in 1991, and the second version, that is called Python 2, which was released in 2000. The developer of this language, Guido van Rossum, is considered a dictator for this language, meaning that from the inception of this language he's trying to dictate the language, and he's still working on this language development of this language. From 2002 around 2012 he worked with Google, and his major work there was to just develop this language. He was just working on Python. That was it. And the stable version, currently version 2.7 is being used in many industries, but everybody is now moving to Python 3 after 2008. So if you are using Python 2.7, it's a right time to move to Python 3, because after 2020 you will not get any support or anything or any new development in Python 2. Meaning if you have any new further task, or if you want to use Python 2 for any new development, you won't get any other support for it. So it's a good thing. If you want, you just move to Python 3. It's a correct time. It's a transition phase, and we are lucky to be in this time frame. Which one to use? Python has two current versions which are stable. One is Python 2.7 and Python 3.5. So both the versions are strong. They have like similar syntax, but there are minor changes. Okay, the main difference is that these languages are not intercompatible, meaning if you have written a code in Python 2, it won't necessarily work in Python 3. Basic difference: if you just try to see the syntax, you will see the some function has been changed, and the basic thing you will see the print statement, which has been considerably changed. This is the basic thing that we can go by. Okay, these things are changed. Good thing is many packages which are used by data scientists or further in our course are compatible with both the languages. like NumPy, SciPy, Matplotlib, and few packages which were not compatible with Python 2 are now available in Python 3, meaning that some requirement people wanted some packages from other languages which were not possible with Python 2. Now you can use in Python 3 also. In this course we are going to cover Python 3, and next we will try to move into what kind of packages we can use or what kind of IDE we can use. In this part of in video we will see how to install the Python environment and what the Python IDE is and how we can use it. So basically there are mainly three ways to run any Python code. So what do we mean by executing Python program? It should to execute the Python program we will need two things: one where we can write the code and another part where we can execute the code. So basically there are three main ways to execute any Python program. One we can use is any text editor, save the file as .py file, and in the command line interface we can just run the file and we can see the output in the command line interface. The second way, which is also very popular bit in data science community, which is using IPython notebooks, meaning it's kind of a notebook or a report file kind of thing where you can execute the code in the runtime. Like in the whole file, you can, wherever you see the code, it would be executable. It's very interactive environment also. And third way is to use any Python IDE, meaning you can use Spider IDE, you can use PyCharm IDE, or Python also come with this default Python IDE also, which you can use. In this whole course we will be using Spider IDE, which comes with the Anaconda distribution. So Anaconda distribution is a whole software package which has all any required software for any data scientist to use. We can just directly install it and download and install it. Okay, how to download it? You can visit the Continuum website, which is for which gives the Anaconda distribution to us, and then select the whatever compatible version that you have. You can just install it by download it and install by clicking the exe file. It will automatically install the Python, IPython notebook, Jupyter notebook. Jupyter notebook is a IPython console or IPython interactive environment given by the Anaconda package, and you will also install Spider IDE. The good thing about Anaconda is it comes with all the necessary packages pre-installed. You don't have to install them separately. We will use Spider IDE. So how to install it? You can just visit the Anaconda website like here, and you can move down there and you will see the Python version or Spider that Anaconda version that you want to install. The latest is Anaconda 4.20, and with the Python 3.2 version you can go here, and 64-bit or 32-bit whatever window version that you have, you can just click on it and install it. That's quite easy. Next, Spider IDE. We will just try to get familiar with the Spider Python IDE, how it looks like and how it works. So formerly it was known as PyD. It's an open source cross-platform IDE, meaning that on Linux, on Mac OS or Windows, you can just work on it, and any code or any executable thing that could be run on all three platforms. It has three components. One is editor, second one is the object inspector, and third is a console. We will see about everything in next slides. So if you are coming from RStudio or MATLAB background, it would be very easy to learn. It's not a very complicated environment. You would be very easy to relate to it. So this is how a Spider environment looks like. It has three parts. One is editor, second is a variable explorer, and third is the console. We will just see what these environmental parts are one by one. So Spider editor is where we write the code. Okay, this is like a editor or text editor kind of stuff, and any script file that we have written or Python script file that can be imported over here, loaded over here, or we can just save that also. To run the code, you just highlight the code that you want to run, and then enter with Control Enter, and it will run into the console. It has a few options like autofilling of object or function name which are predefined in the code. So most of the time we will be spending in our editor just to look at it. Like I have written a code which is in the editor part, and to run this code I have to select the whole code. I have to highlight it. It won't work if I just select if I just put the cursor over here and try to Control Enter. It won't work. We have to select it and then enter it. So over here we can see that the code will be executed in the console part. This is the console part, and we will see how the console part is. The next part we will see is console part. So when we execute the code by highlighting it and pressing Ctrl Enter, it runs in the console. It's used for, this will give us the output of our code. Okay, so here we have two kind of consoles. One is Python console over here, and another one is IPython console. If you are trying to write a whole program, big program, and if you want to run it in a one go, Python console is a good way to do that. But if you're trying to run in R kind of style where you want to execute everything line by line, then IPython console is the way to go, and I would recommend you to run the IPython console. And likewise, if you can just execute the code by selecting from the script or this area, or otherwise you can just write it over here. Like I can just define one variable y is equal to 20 over here, and if I want to execute it, I'll just press enter and this would be executed. And third part is our spider variable explorer. So every variable that you create will be stored and be shown in the variable explorer, and it helps us physically checking the variable how it looks like. It will give us the dimension, size, length of and the sample example how it looks like. When we import any data set, it will also be shown over here. Right now we have defined two variables. One was x and y, which we can see over here, which is the x variable name and the type of the variable. This is the size, meaning this is it has one size, one dimension, and the value of it. Any file or any data set that you import will also be shown over here. You can import the data set by clicking this button, and you can just move to that data frame CSV file, and it will be imported in your console. And that's it. One more thing about the console part is history log. Whatever you have executed, like x is equal to 10 or y is equal to 20, will also be saved over here. If you want for future reference what you have run previously, you can just see in the history.